I was talking about synchronization. So in this class, I'll just give an introduction about what do you mean by synchronization, how it can be used in Java, and we'll study some programming examples related to synchronization. So as we all know, synchronization means so there will be two or more threads which will be accessing or which will be competing for a shared resource. So whenever two or more threads are competing for a shared resource, we should ensure or we should create some control mechanism in which the resource will be used by only one thread at a time. So at a time, that shared resource should be used by only one thread. So this process, the way in which this process can be achieved is known as synchronization. So so Java has a support for this synchronization at the language level only. The Java will support synchronization. So what is the key concept of synchronization? See, the key to the synchronization is the concept of monitor. So monitor is also known as a lock. Monitor is also known as a lock or mutex. So monitor, we will call it as a semaphore. So what is monitor means? It's an object which will it is an object that will be used as a exclusive lock. So the thread which can own a monitor, see, the thread which can own a monitor is the one which will be using the shared resource. So other thread, if they want to use the shared resource, means they have to wait for this thread to complete its execution. So only one thread can use only one thread can have a monitor at any point of time. And also when the thread acquires a lock, so it is said that it has entered the monitor, and all the threads who are trying to enter that locked monitor has to wait until that thread which has acquired the monitor will come out from that monitor. So the threads which are waiting, we will call it as the waiting for the thread. So so this is how the concept is built, or this is how the it works in Java. So uh, a thread which is having the monitor can re-enter a thread which is having a monitor can re-enter the shared resource if it decides so. So and also how you can use synchronization in Java. How you can use synchronization in Java means in Java you can have two things. One is the synchronization keyword and the usage of synchronized methods. So we'll check both of them. So we know that synchronization for the Java, we have a language support for synchronization, because each object, all the objects in Java will have their own monitor which are associated with them. So to enter into an object's monitor, you just need to call the method which has been modified with the usage of synchronized keyword. So here we'll be using a keyword called synchronized keyword. So when the thread is inside a synchronized method, the other threads which are trying to call that method have to wait, have to wait. And a thread which is inside the monitor, if it wants to exit it, if it wants to exit and it wants to give the resource to the other thread, means it just need to return from that method. So if it is returning from that method, it is like it is coming out of that lock. So we will better understand this with an example. So I'll just share the example. So from that example, this problem can be understood better. So I'll just go to this example. So I'll just copy the code to save the time. So we have a program. So I'll explain the program, then we can start with this. So we have a function. We have three classes. We have one class by the name call me. So call me is a class. So this call me class contains a function. So this call me class contains a function called call function. So it is taking the parameter as message. So we have a class by the name call me. So it is having a function called call function. So this call function is taking the string parameter, meaning it will have some words. You can pass the names as the parameter also. So after that, what this call function is doing means, so this is the beginning of the call function and this is the end of the call function. So this is the end of the call function. So what this call function is doing means, first it will print the opening bracket, after that the message which you want to display. For example, if I give my name here, so my name will be displayed. So if the message contains my name, opening bracket, my name will be displayed. So whatever you are passing as the parameter, that will be displayed. So after that the thread will go to the sleep state. After that thread will go to the sleep state. So it will sleep for 1000 milliseconds. It will sleep for 1000 milliseconds. So after that, if there is any interruption, so we are using this interrupted exception method to catch that. So this is what the call function is doing. What the call function is doing, the call function has a string as the parameter. So it is trying to print the message. First, it is trying to print the opening bracket followed by the message. Then the thread will go to the sleep state. The thread will go to the sleep state. Once the thread is awake, it will close that message. It will print the closing bracket. So opening bracket, the message which you want to display, then the closing bracket. So this is done by the class called call me class. So we have a call me class which is doing this kind of functionality. So call me class has one function called call method. So this call method is just printing the message. So after this we have one more function. um, Not function, it's a constructor. So we have a caller class. We have one more class called caller class. So this class is creating a thread. So it is creating the thread by using the implements runnable interface. So now we have a caller class. So this caller class has one constructor. We have one constructor which is by the name caller. So this constructor is taking a reference parameter called target. So which belongs to this class. So we have a caller class which is implementing the runnable interface. So what this class is doing means it is assigning. So it has a constructor which is assigning the message, which is assigning the message a new thread. Then it is creating a new thread. Here you are creating a new thread and you are starting the thread. So after this, you're calling the run method. So this method, the class call me. So we have a which is implementing the runnable interface. It has a constructor which is initializing which you want to display, and it is creating a thread and it is starting the thread. So the constructor is getting the messages, it is starting the thread, it is creating the thread and it is starting the thread. So we have a run function. So this run function is calling a function. This run function is in turn calling one more function, which is the call message, which is the call message. Sorry, it is calling the function called target.call. So it is calling this function. It is calling this function. So this is with respect to the caller function. So this is with respect to the caller class. So after this we have one more class. So we have one more class. So this class I'll call it as the demo class, the name of my class. So I'll just call it as a demo class. Um, so in this demo class, so what I'm doing is I'm creating one object which belongs to call me class. So first class, one object which belongs to call me class, and three objects: object 1, object 2, object 3. They belongs to caller class. So the one which is implementing the thread. So now it is calling hello. New caller of hello means the string yes contains hello, and that hello will be assigned to this message parameter. It will be assigned to this message variable. Like that, first time it will pass hello as the message, next time it will pass synchronized as the message, and third time it will pass world as the message. So after that, it will wait for thread 1 to complete its execution, that is object 1 to complete its execution. After that, object 2 to complete its execution, and object 3 to complete its execution. That means it is waiting. So we are using the join method. No, so ideally the object 1 thread has to end, followed by the object 2 thread and object 3 thread. So all the three threads should um, get executed one in an order. So it should not execute simultaneously. First, the thread 1 should complete its task, then the thread 2 should complete its task, and the thread 3 should complete its task. So this is our program. So now, if you check the output, you will be so this is our program. So we have a call call class, call me class, which contains a call function, which is taking string as the parameter, and it is displaying the message and going to the pause state. We have a caller function. Sorry, it is a class. We have a caller class, which is taking, which is having a caller constructor. So this caller constructor will create a thread and it will start the execution of the thread. And it has a run function, which will call the message called call of message. That means it is calling this function. It is calling this call function. So after this in the demo class, we are creating three objects which belongs to a caller class and one object which belongs to the target class. So what we will think that we will think that, so first the thread 1 will be executed, then thread 2 will be executed, and thread 3 will be executed. So we will think that all the three threads will be executed one after the other time. So I'll just save this code and I'll run this code. So, but you can see that first hello was printed, first opening bracket. See, first thread 1. See what has happened means open. First, what has happened means the first you're printing the open bracket, followed by the hello, then followed by open bracket world, then followed by open bracket synchronized, and after that the closing brackets are getting executed. The closing brackets are getting um, executed. So here the synchronization, here you can see that, because we are using the sleep function, no, whenever we are using the sleep function, the call method will allow the execution to change to another thread. Since we are using this sleep function, what is happening means this call function will be keep on changing. First, this call function is called by three different threads: OB1, OB2, OB3. But because of this sleep function, the call method, it will allow the execution to switch to another thread. But we don't want that process. What we want first one thread to complete, followed by the another thread, and followed by the thread 3. So we want thread 1 to complete its execution, followed by thread 2 to complete its execution, and followed by thread 3 to complete its execution. But what is happening is the output is not in proper sequence. We are getting a mix of strings. You can see the output is a mixture of three strings. So in this program, what is happening means the three threads are um, calling the same method, and they are competing with each other. At the same time. So this condition is known as race condition, because the three threads are competing over each other to complete the method. So that's why you're not getting the proper output. So how do we fix that means by using a synchronized method. So how to do this means one small change. So just you need to make this method. You just need to make this method synchronized. If you make this method synchronized, the call to this function will be synchronized. So to fix this program, I just need to make a serial access to this call function, because three threads were calling the call function. So I should make a serial access. So by doing that, what I will do means this call function will have access only to one thread. It will have only access to one thread at a time. Once the thread 1 has completed its task, thread 2 can access. Once the thread 2 has completed its task, thread 3 can access. So this is how you can solve this problem. So we had created three threads, and three threads were competing for this synchro call method. So now by using the synchronized keyword, first thread T1 can call that, it can call this method and it can complete its task. Then can thread 2 can call this call function and it can complete its task, and thread 3. So see see the difference. So by making this changes, see the output. So now the output will be different. Hello got completed, after that world got completed, then synchronized got completed. So this is how the output got changed. So what happened, because here what this synchronized method did is it is permitting only one thread to call that function, and that function should be executed. So it has prevented the um, racing condition. So this method, synchronized method, is preventing the other methods from calling this function called call function when the other thread is using. So when the hello thread, when the thread T1 which is given by OB1 is using this call function, the other threads OB2 and OB3 they cannot call this function. So when OB1 is using the call function, the OB2 and OB3 cannot uh, use that call function though. So this is how at any time, um, at any point of time, this method, the synchronized method, is guarding the threads from the race condition. So this is one change. This is one change. So this is how you can prevent the multiple threads from accessing the common resource. So and also we have one more thing, and also we have one more statement called synchronized statement. See, while this method, while creating the synchronized method within the classes is very easy, and also it is very easy to achieve synchronization, but this will not work in all the cases because so if you want to have a synchronized access to an object of classes which were not designed for the multi-threaded access, so in that cases the synchronized method will not work, and also the classes would not have been created by us, it would have been created by some other person. So if the classes have been created by some other person, then we will not have access to the source code. So in that case we cannot use this synchronized method, but we have a solution for that. So the solution is, you can just use the synchronized method, you can just use the synchronized keyword inside. Like in this situation we can use a synchronized block. So this synchronized block will make sure that a call to a method which is a member of the object will occur only after the current thread has successfully entered the object's monitor. So this is also the one modification. So every time we cannot use the synchronized block. So one suggestion is, instead of using the synchronized block, we can use the synchronized statement. So what is a synchronized statement or synchronized block means? So we just need to make one small changes. We just need to make one small changes. So inside the run method, so this is the one which is calling the object. No, this is the one which is calling the object. No, so this I should create a block here, synchronized block. So synchronized of it is called, the target is the one which is calling synchronized of target, followed by the opening of the block and closing of the block. So like this also, by using the synchronized block you can achieve this mechanism. I'll save this and I will build this. So you can see the same output you're getting, the same output you're you're getting, but here you're using the synchronized block. So that is how here the call method is not modified. Here you can see that here I'm not modifying the call method. Here I am not modifying the call method by the synchronized keyword. Instead the synchronized statement, instead what I'm doing here, instead I'm using the synchronized statement inside the caller method, inside the caller's run method. So class inside the caller class there is a function called run function. So inside this run function I am using the synchronized statement. So this will give us the output which we had received in the, which was same as the one in the previous thing. So here also the each thread has to wait for one thread to complete its task before it can access them. So this is how um, it can be implemented. So you can have synchronized method and you can have synchronized block. So we have two procedures, we have two process for implementing this. So this is with respect to the synchronization, so next we have inter-thread communication. So inter-thread communication means it is a communication between threads that are there in a process. So in the previous example we were blocking some threads from accessing the shared resources. So here what we are doing means, here the multi-threading replaces event loop programming by dividing the task into discrete logical units. So by doing this we have some benefits which can be done with the help of polling. So what is this polling means? So polling means it will keep on checking for some condition repeatedly. Once the condition is true, some action will take place. So what do you mean by polling means? It will be keep on checking for certain events to take place. Once that event takes place, Once that event takes place, some action will be taken. So polling means it is usually used to check some conditions. So some conditions will be checked repeatedly. Once the condition is true, then certain actions will be taken. So what is the disadvantage of this polling is it will waste the CPU time because it will keep on checking the condition. So the one example for this uh, inter-thread communication is uh, this producer consumer problem. So what do you mean by producer consumer problem? Means we have two process. One is the producer and other one is the consumer. They are sharing the common buffer. So what is the job of producer? Means the producer has to produce a data in, and he has to place the data inside the buffer, and the consumer has to consume the data. I mean, it has to receive the data by removing the data. But here the producer should produce only one piece of data, and the consumer has to consume only one piece of data. So this is with respect to the producer consumer problem. So what do you mean by producer consumer problem? Means we have two process, producer and consumer. The producer role is to produce the data and put it on the plate of and we put it on the buffer, and the consumer's role is to consume the data which is there inside the buffer. So but one thing is like, see here we can have two threads, one thread which is producing some data and another thread which is consuming the data. But but uh, but but here we have some problem. Here we have some problem, like the producer has to wait. The producer will produce some data and it will give it to the buffer. So the producer has to wait until the consumer has consume the data. So in a polling system, what it will happen means the consumer would waste many CPU cycles while it is waiting for the producer to produce. Once the producer has finished the task of producing, and then it would also start polling. So it would also start wasting the CPU cycles waiting for the consumer to finish. So because this situation is from both the sides, it is undesirable. See, the producer will produce the data, and it will wait for the consumer to consume the data, and also it will start the polling process. Whereas the consumer would also wait uh, consumer also would waste some cycles by polling, by waiting for the producer to produce some data. So this is also in a polling system, the consumer is also wasting many CPU cycles because it is waiting for the producer to produce. Once the producer has completed its task, again the producer will also start polling because it is also wasting some cycle waiting for the consumer to finish. So these two situations are undesirable from both the ends. So to avoid this situation in the interprocess communication, we have three methods. One is the wait method, one is the wait method, one is the notify method, and the other one is notify all methods. So we have three methods. One is the wait method, notify method, notify all methods. So what is the usage of three methods? So wait method means it will tell the calling thread to give up the monitor and go to the sleep state until some other thread will come inside the same monitor, and it will call the notify method. So wait method, it will tell the calling thread to give the monitor or to give up the monitor and go to the sleep state until some other thread will come inside the same monitor, and it will call the notify function. So we have notify and notify all function. So notify will wake up a single thread which called the wait on the same object, whereas notify all will wake up all the threads that are called wait on the same object. So this is the usage of notify and notify. Notify means one thread, notify all means multiple threads. So this is with respect to the uh, wait, notify all methods. And also we have some conditions. See, when the producer produces the item, the consumer should not consume. When the consumer is consuming, the producer should not produce the item. So this is some conditions of this producer consumer problem. And also producer cannot produce when the buffer is full, and the consumer cannot consume when the buffer is empty. So some conditions. So now we'll just go with the example. We'll just go with the example which implements this producer consumer problem, and also we'll modify that, and also we'll modify we'll have the modified version of the producer consumer problem. One second. So we have so sh- so we have we have a class q, so in class q we have two functions. In class q we have one function which is given by get function, and we have one more function, put function, which is given by this. So we have a class function, we have a class q function, which is having two methods, get method and put method. So what is this get method is doing means, you know that the get method means it is returning some value n, and we have this put method. This put method is displaying some value called n. So and we have a producer, what is the role of producer? The producer is to produce some data. So you can see this producer. um you can see this producer, which is you can see this constructor by the name producer. So which is producing some data, which is having some parameter q as the data, and that is being assigned to this. And also it is starting the thread, it is also starting the thread. And after that you can see inside the run function, it is generating the data. As long as this condition is true, you start generating the data. I mean, it is calling the put function. What this put function will do, it will generate the data. Whereas we have one more function called consumer function. We have consumer function. So consumer function, what it will do means, it will consume the data. The consumer function will consume the data. So it is calling the get function. It is calling the get function to read the data or to retrieve the data which is placed on the buffer. So when I run this program, so you will see once you see the output, then so it is giving some output. Um, it is giving some output. So uh, see here, when you go through this output, you can see that we have only put function. We have put function, and we are not seeing the get function. That means it is not synchronized. So what I told, so we will have some put function. So one piece of data should be consumed. One piece of data should be consumed at a time. But here what it is happening, that is not taking place. So but the producer is keep on producing the data, and the consumer has not consumed any data. The proper synchronization is not there. So um, even though we are using this get method and put method inside a synchronized block, so we don't have a mechanism to stop the producer from producing the data. What we told in producer consumer problem, first the producer has to produce the data, and it has to wait for the consumer to consume. But here he is not waiting. He's keep on producing the data. Even though the methods get and put method are synchronized, we don't have a mechanism to stop the producer from uh, overriding or overrunning the consumer. That is, we are not able to stop this producer from producing the data. And similarly, see, now the get function, is keep on eating the data, eating the data. So here we don't have a mechanism to stop this get function also. Yeah, the consumer is also consuming the data, and also is consuming the same data. See, 56319, 56319, 56319, they all refers to the same data. But that should not be the case. He should consume different data. So from this we can know that we are getting the wrong output. From that we can know that we are getting the wrong output. So this problem can be solved by making the usage of wait function and notify function, so that both producer and consumer will be both the functions will be implemented in proper order. So what we are doing means, since it is producing the erroneous result, we are using we are using we are using uh, we are using uh, the modified version. We are using the modified version. We are using the modifying version. So where in the modified version, what I am doing means, the modified version, you can see I will be using the wait and notify function. In the modified function, you can see I am using the wait function, notify function. Inside the get function, I'm using wait and notify. Inside the put function also, I'm using wait and notify. You can see that. So now, since the methods were synchronized, there was no way in which we could have corrected that producer and consumer. But we are using this get method and wait method. So inside the get function, where is the get function? So here inside the get function, I'm using the wait method. So what this wait method will do means, it will it will suspend the execution. This causes it, see the wait, when I'm using the wait method, the execution will be suspended until the producer will tell us that some data is ready. So I'm calling the wait function. When on calling this wait function, it got suspended, this process got suspended, and it will wait until the producer will tell me that some data is ready. So when the producer tells us that the data is ready, the execution will start, or the execution inside this get function will get resumed. So after consuming the data, it will call the notify function. So you can just see wait until I get the notification from the producer. Once I get the data, I'll notify the producer that I have consumed the data. I have consumed the data. So that is how. So after the data has been obtained, this get function is also calling the notify function. This notify function will tell the producer that it is ready, it has consumed the data, and you can put more data in the queue. So inside the put method also we have wait function. So what this wait function will do means, it will suspend the execution until the consumer will consume the data. Once the consumer has consumed the data, the execution will resume. How the execution will resume means, because it will be notified, the execution will resume on receiving the notify function. So once it receives the notify function is called, it will tell the consumer that it should uh, now it can produce the data. So this is how it is working. So inside the put method also we have wait function, which is suspending the execution until the consumer will consume the data. So when the execution resumes, the next data will be placed inside the buffer, and the notify function will be called. So when the notify function is called, it will get to know that the consumer that the data can be consumed now. So now you can see the output. Now you can see the output for this, how it will work. Now you can see the output for the same function. See, uh, 35. See, number is something. So data 17735 is produced. Data is consumed. So like that, this function will also, whatever data is being produced. So this data is being produced, and this data is being consumed. So like that it will work. So data is being produced, data is being consumed, produced, consumed, produced, consumed. So this number, no, it is going beyond some value. So this number can also be restricted. This number can also be restricted. Um, Here, if we make some changes to the logic, this data can also be restricted. But our goal is to know whatever data is being consumed, or whatever data is being produced, that is getting consumed. That's all. So 14408 data is being produced, and that is being consumed. 14409 data is produced, and that data has been consumed. 14410 data has been produced, and that data has been consumed. So this is how the problem gets solved, by the usage of wait and notify method. So by making use of the wait and notify method, you are able to solve that error output which you were getting in the um, producer consumer problem. So this is with respect to the inter-thread communication. So now we have a deadlock. So you would have some idea about the deadlock. So deadlock means, it is like a certain type of error which will occur when we are doing the multitasking. So how it will occur means when two or more threads, when we have two threads which are having some dependency on a pair of objects. For example, we have one thread which enters the monitor on some object X, and we have one more thread which enters the monitor on object Y. So one thread on object X and another thread has occupied object Y. But 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 for thread 1 to complete its execution, it has to call the method Y. It has to call the method Y. And for thread why thread 2 to get executed, it has to call method X. So we had two methods. One is the method X and method Y. So both method X is occupied by thread 1 by taking the monitor, and method Y is occupied by thread 2 by taking the monitor. But now these two threads are trying to call other functions like the thread 2 which has acquired Y, it is trying to call the method X, and thread 1 which has acquired method X, it is trying to call method Y. So it is resulting in a deadlock condition. So it is resulting in a deadlock condition. So this kind of situation, so this kind of situations we will call it as the deadlock. So now we know that each of them to complete for each of them to complete, they need another method, and also they have acquired the monitor. So this kind of situation, so this kind of situations what it will happen means, so uh, so now because both the threads will be waiting for accessing the individual method. So this is the situation. So where a two more, so deadlock describes a situation where two or more threads are blocked forever, waiting for other resources. So you can see this traffic, this image which I have written here. So you can see that like now none of the cars can move because of the deadlock situation. So if it has to move, means someone has to take someone at least one car has to move from the intersection. But here you can see that all the eight cars are stuck up in a condition that even one of the car cannot move. And also this deadlock is very difficult to detect or debug because see it will occur rarely. So this deadlock condition will occur rarely, and also it can have more than two threads, and it can also have more than two synchronized objects also. So we will study about this deadlock, and also we'll see the programming example. So we have some four conditions. Uh, so using that are the reasons for getting the deadlock. So all those things you would have studied in the operating system. So now in the next class, I'll just talk about the programming which is related to this deadlock, and and how it will impact that. So how it will impact that. So this is one thing which we should know. And also, um, so this is with respect to the deadlock. So a condition, deadlock means it's a condition where the threads will be blocked forever, which are waiting for each other. See, for example, like so, see, I want to watch a movie. See, I want to watch some movie. So what will happen means, so the movie will be stored in two devices, like it will be in two parts. Okay, it will be in two parts, part one and part two, which will be stored in two different devices or two different pen drives. So the movie which is having part one is will be with you, and the movie which is having part two will be acquired by your friend. So both of you are not ready to share the pen drives. So like the friend two is asking the friend two is asking friend one to give the pen drive, whereas the friend one is asking the friend to give the pen drive. So in this condition, even both of them will not watch the movie or whatever it is. So the same situation. So they have acquired the lock. They have acquired the lock, and they're waiting for the other threads. So two threads. So the two threads have acquired some lock, and they are waiting for the resources which is held by the other thread. So these kind of situations we'll call it as the deadlock. So a situation where two or more threads are blocked forever, and they are also waiting for other threads or other resources. So this we will call it as the deadlock.